Intake, sort of the split trouser leg, that's where my finger is now, and that's part of the airframe. This ring with the holes in is the fire extinguisher nozzle. My finger's now on the rubber seal, so this is airplane and this side of its engine, so that's the rubber intake seal there. So coming back, oil tank. We've got all the pipework on the top's part of the fuel control unit. There's a couple of air bleeds as well, because this is a pressurised aircraft, so these are air bleeds from the compressor. Moving back down here, igniter units, so that's the igniter plug there. The igniter units themselves are on the other side of the aircraft. These are it's the fuel manifold for the burners and the starting burners. So we're coming into sort of the combustion chambers here. The turbine is down this end here, and you can see where the heat shield is as the jet pipe goes down the back. If you look inside there, the engine trunnion, which basically mounts the engine to the airframe. I'm just touching it now, so that's the trunnion pin there, and this piece where my finger is the mounting of the engine mounting of the airframe itself.
The engine's steady on the front.
Yeah, so the engine's basically just held at the front by the seal, and there's the jet pipe is supported as well at the back. Fire extinguisher bottles there. So it's fired by the electric squib here, and then the fire extinguisher comes out the pipe to the nozzle ring at the front, and it just basically gets carried by airflow over the whole of the engine bay. Lots of pipe work here. Mainly this is part of the pressurisation and air conditioning system there. Oil pipes and the fuel unit, the fuel control units in several separate components which are all linked together by pipe work. The fire detection wire is that wire there, which goes all the way around the engine bay. That just lights up a light in the cockpit and also gives me an audio warning, but it doesn't automatically fire the extinguisher. I have to press a button to bang off the fireman. Let's do the other side. Accessory gearbox, so that's the starter and generator. I can't remember which way which actually, but I think that's the generator which you're touching there, and the starter's on the bullet at the front. That's right. Gearbox, oil, filler. That's the cooling air for the generator. It comes in through this little scoop here. So there we are. There's batteries, port and starboard side, 28 volts, 18 amp hours, lead acid, and we use 2 of them, which gives enough energy to start the aircraft at all. That pipe you can see coming off the bottom of the jet pipe there, that's the fuel drain for the jet pipe. So if I have a wet start, it's basically a pressure operated valve, there's no pressure in the jet pipe, the valve's open, any residual fuel drain out the bottom. As soon as the engine starts, that valve starts closed by the gas pressure. It might be good to just soon take a photo inside. So we can see here, dual control aircraft. I'm in the right hand seat, which would be the instructor's seat, so I fly it solo from the left. Control column, both sides. We've got a throttle onto the left as well for myself. The main engine controls, however, are in the centre, so that's the HP cock to start the engine, and the LP cock, which basically opens the valve between the fuel tanks and the fuel pumps of the engine. Other ancillary controls, flaps, again I've got a flap lever my side, and the red and green buttons, the undercarriage up and down. Fairly standard analog instrument panel there, airspeed, artificial horizon, rate of climb, altimeter, compass, and this is basically a turn indicator. If this instrument would fail and I was in cloud, I could keep level using this instrument here. Around the bottom there, engine gauges, very simple. Jet pipe temperature, fuel pressure, fuel gauge. It's got 4 tanks, but only 1 gauge, so what I've got is a switch down here, so I can select ring tanks or tip tanks for the gauge. And again, because I've got left and right, I can have both tanks, port tank and starboard tank. So when I check the fuel, there's a bit of switching, a bit of arithmetic that needs doing as well. Down the bottom left there, external lighting switches. These are some ancillary controls. So we've got top temp control, which basically limits the jet pipe temperature when I open the throttle. The battery master, starting master, which puts the power onto the engine starting system. Ignition switch, pitot head, which is the basically where the airspeed indicator gets its information from down there. These switches were for the old military radios, which have been taken out now. I've just got a little civilian VHF radio there to use to talk to air traffic control. Power operated canopy, which is always very nice, so canopy close and open. This is a canopy seal, so if I push that forward, an inflatable seal is actually on this sliding portion of the canopy behind. We'll seal the cockpit closed so I can pressurise it with that switch there. And basically it's engine compressor bleed air which pressurizes the cockpit. When I'm displaying obviously down at sort of 500 feet, I don't need pressurization, but I have it switched on anyway. If I was going to start the engine, during my initial checks the battery would be on, the ignition would be on, which doesn't actually, it just arms the igniter circuit, and also the starting master would be on, which effectively arms the starter motor. LP fuel would be on. There's a micro switch on this fuel control which actually switches on the LP fuel pump as well, and then finally the HP cock would be in the open position. I then press the button down here marked ground start, and an automatic circuit which is controlled by a clockwork timing unit would start to put current on the starter motor in stages. So it would start off with a fairly low current and then ramp it up to full power. It would switch on the igniters at the correct time, and it would also operate the starting burners on the engine and sequence it through until the engine's running. So all I basically do as the pilot is press the button and monitor it to make sure the jet pipe temperature stays within limits there. It takes about 20 seconds from pressing the button to having the engine at idle.